uh, are going to be Osiris and Sasano. Sasano, a god that they weren't able to use as effectively as I think WaRm would have been able to. Going to take that away from both teams. I think going to go for more of a comfort pick on his end.
Hmm.
Well,
Probably.
the first pick out of Booby, I think Chunga did a good job this that last game, trying to do good for his team, try and sustain him up and have some good objective play. I think a Wheelix would have been a pretty good first pick. You don't want that to go into the hands of ANAX. You did so well with it last game. I think letting that go to them would be a mistake, but I'm not sure if that's in Superfish's God pool.
I don't know what to say. I mean, they did really well, and Wheelix was the driving force behind it. But I feel like Annex still has a lot to learn as a team, and that also helped their opponents who knew a little bit more, get ahead of them.
I think so as well, and just going to be going into their bank time right now. It looks like it's at 0 seconds on my screen, but I'm guaranteed you that's just a glitch. Going to be thinking if they want to pick up that Wheelix to take it away from them, even if they want to grab a Shock. Shock's a pretty easy character to play. They could try and put that onto Illmatic and see if they can't pull that out of his hands. But then you leave characters like Ravana into his hands. You could leave characters like other warriors that are better than Shock. I can't really think of other names right now because I always choke up when I'm in the stream. But you get what I'm saying. Shock is just an overall good character, but it's not as luster as other characters. Ganesha going to be the first pick right there. Drax Killer. Even though he got caught out last game, I don't think his Ganesha was the issue for his team. He just didn't have a whole lot of follow up to go behind him, and as much disrupt as he was able to do, the burst out of WaRm was just too much for them to deal with.
I agree, and like that burst damage is a huge, huge thing to keep in mind. That you have to find a way to get around that. Juking anything really that you can do.
Interesting that they would go for the Rama pick here, even with Kernernus on the table and even a Medusa. I didn't mind his Medusa. I just think he got caught out a lot and he didn't have the follow from his team again. They just struggled that last game, holding on to objectives and trying to find the plays. Rama is going to be what they switch it up to. Going to see if that lane's going to fare any better for them. It could be Yeti Midas's comfort pick, maybe. Wheelik's going to be hovered on. I think this is a Sherlock, and Hercules also going to be hovered on. They banned him last game. Going to see if they couldn't slip him in this game, and they're going to. The Naka from Hercules is also going to be a big combination. So, again, focusing on that solo to jungle synergy there to rocket themselves in the late game. Superfish is going to be with the pick here. Not sure if he's going to be picking for himself or not, but you have plenty of tools on the table right now if you wanted to use them. I think a Raven would be a pretty nice pickup for him to see if you can't bring some takiness into the jungle to try and make a Wheelix think a little bit more about how she's going to play and see if you can't force out actives, see if you can't force out ultimates. Try and make that jungle pick less pivotal and see if you can't force the spotlight onto other characters. And Ravana going to immediately be locked in just after I get done saying that. I think that's a good pick here. See if you can't force that Wheelix to play a little smarter. Focus on other characters. Focus on other lanes and see if you and try and get that Ravana to have the biggest effect on this game as you can without falling behind.
Hmm.
Bans coming out of ANAX right now. I think getting rid of Kernernos would be the right call here. You don't want Just Fly 24 to get that character in his hands again. Kernernos going to be the ban. Just Fly 24 going to have to pick something else.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time getting into this game right now, so because I can't spectate right now, so I'm gonna be a little mute on there
Okay, no
on my
worries.
opinions here.
I'll just do my thing.
Do your thing.
All right, and probably going to ban out possibly a solo laner for possibly take a solo laner away from ANAX, and Thoth actually going to be what they take away. Isis wasn't as big as they thought it was going to be for themselves. So Thoth's going to be taken away. You don't want that big damage coming out in the mid to late game. Almost assuredly, it's going to be Chang'e on their mid lane, so they know that they can't try and trick them into picking that in a panic attempt. But the fourth ban, it's going to be a character. Probably, I would say, I don't know. There's so many characters online for that mid lane. I wouldn't be surprised if they did take away that Isis. That Spirit Ball can be annoying, but I don't think it had a big enough effect. They can pretty much ban whatever they don't want to go against here and stay comfortable with the picks that they have.
Yeah, I agree. That was a huge thing. Isis didn't really play much of a role. I think she got one kill, maybe. She may have got the first kill for her team, but
Yeah,
it
Isis.
didn't end up being all that important.
Yeah, Chrism Hundra was able to pick up the first kill for his team on that Isis, but only getting a couple kills that game. Didn't have a very big effect with that god. Tried a couple times to see if they couldn't secure an objective, but usually those objective secures in those team fights fell apart and it made that circle of protections not very effective.
Hmm.
Illmatic NGA going to be the next pick here. Probably going to pick up that mid laner, or at least try to pick up their jungle pick here to see if they, well, I think the Robin's going to be going to the jungle, so I'm not really sure what they're going to be picking here. It could be a chalk if they wanted to put that in their solo lane and go even against that Hercules. Both characters with decent clear, decent heals. Try and have a slap fight over there. Amaterasu going to be the hovered and pick. Amaterasu is a pretty good character as well. Not a direct counter to Hercules, but her in her own rights has pretty good clear. Not going to be able to outbox her is Hercules, but going to be able to interrupt a lot of what she does. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup over in that solo lane. Justfly24 going to take Medusa instead of Yeti Midas taking that, having that last game. It's going to be Justfly24 using it. Hopefully going to see some pretty big plays. I think next to Kronos, Medusa has pretty big control in the lane, as well as a very good ultimate with that CC. And Athena also going to be hovered on, a very good Guardian. I haven't seen her too much in this league except for play by a couple of higher level teams, but even then Ganesha has been prioritized, Fafnir's been prioritized. Hardly ever seeing that Athena anymore, but hovered on, and I'm hoping going to see her, hopefully going to see her locked in and give them some global mobility. I think it's pretty good for solo rotations, which they've done early in the game to try and rocket Booby into a lead, rocket Cannibal Hunter into a lead, and see if they can't get some early objective push and play here. And it's also pretty good.
Important.
Absolutely, and it's also pretty important to have an Athena roam around the map while you have somebody like Justfly24 who's such an independent hunter over in the duo lane. If he ever calls for that rotation, you can guarantee he's going to get it because the play is going to be happening. All right, and God Trade's going to be coming out here. Poseidon was actually going to be the last pick there. An unsung mage right now, usually banned out and first pick. Going to make it to the 10th pick in this game. Surprised to see him go down so low.
Oh, yeah. I have to say, though, just watching the stream, that Ravana skin is my favorite skin. Next to the other one they gave me. But it's still pretty dope.
Ravana has some pretty decent skins going for him.
Oh, yeah.
I think this mid lane matchup.
Why won't you let me in game?
I think this mid lane matchup is going to be pretty interesting. If Poseidon can, if Crimson 100 can catch Booby with his immunity down and possibly with his ultimate down, he can try and get a good Kraken and make a good play with Superfish 21 to see if they can't put that Chunga on her heels and have Chaster be flustering without his mid laner to back him up. But we'll see.
I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Not a whole ton to talk about here. We already watched the first game, and it was a pretty lopsided affair. Sorry I didn't turn my notifications off before the game. We'll probably see him back here pretty soon. How's chat doing? I know I'm an announcer, but I could talk to you guys. I'm human. I'm just curious to see if Yeti Midas is going to be faring any better on that Rama. I don't think he played too bad that last game. He was just struggling to find combinations, and he had an ultimate where he got some stuns, did some decent damage, but I don't know. We'll see. I think they got some pretty good powerhouse picks. Seeing a Ganesha, Poseidon, a Raven, and a Rama all on the same team is like scary, but WaRm also has a pretty strong draft on their end, so I don't know. I think it'll balance out. But the skill level is obviously tipping towards WaRm, and it's going to see if ANAX can comfort pick their way into a W, maybe. Hello, Raymond Nesbitt. Hey, what's up? How do you guys like the announcing? I know I probably talk pretty fast, but that's just sort of something I can't help anymore. It's just, well, I can help it. I just have to really pay attention and like have the constant reminder to slow down. But I don't know. I think I'm improving, and I have to try and not be tired for these when I do them, because when I'm tired, that's you can noticeably tell. Even if I'm like good, I'm not like on top of things as I usually am. I really hate this delay because there's only so much I can talk about with these picks and bans. It usually goes straight into a game in a regular SBL game, but of course Hi-Rez isn't going to recognize this yet, so we're going to have to try really hard.
The hero has returned. They said they restarted because of the switching era, the trade era. My bad.
They had a trade error? Okay, so we're probably going to have to be right back with this.
No, that's what I got the message just now for.